President Trump indicating that he may want to end the war, quote, very, very soon. What does that mean for Israel's military objectives? Should the U.S. decide to end the war in the coming days, how would Israel respond?
Well, President Trump has been clear about the goals of this war. The primary goals are to dismantle Iran's nuclear capabilities and ballistic missile capabilities, and create an opportunity for the Iranian people to change their own life and fight for freedom. Can you hear me?
Are we seeing divergent? I can hear you. I just want to reiterate this point. Are we seeing divergent objectives between what the U.S. want to achieve and what Israel want to achieve from these military operations?
No, it's the same goal. The goal is to turn Iran from a nuclear and ballistic missile threat into just a regular country that stops threatening its neighbors. Both the United States and the Israeli Air Force have worked over the past 10 days to sort of clip off those capabilities. But we need to ensure that it's a permanent change and that Iran doesn't go back and nuclearize itself.
And how long, in your own assessment, is that going to take? Are we talking days, or are we talking weeks, or are we talking months here?
As long as it's necessary. Look, the Israeli people are paying much of the price because we're the ones who are being hit by missiles and rockets and in shelters. But we understand that if we didn't act now, then 2 years from now, we'd have a monster so strong that we wouldn't be able to act anymore. So we have the perseverance to see this through.
Iran's messaging has been one of defiance. The nomination of the new supreme leader, who's the son of the late supreme leader, they've hit back, not just at Israel, but at Gulf states as well. We're seeing mounting economic costs, a lot of damage and disruption to global energy markets. Did you underestimate the ability of the Iranian regime to hit back?
Quite the contrary. It actually proves precisely the point. Iran's regime is a formidable regime that's been working on this for 47 years. This war didn't start 10 days ago. It started 47 years ago when Iran declared America the big Satan and Israel the small Satan and started its industry of death and destruction. So it's taking time. 47 years to dismantle takes a few more days or weeks, as much as is necessary.
Do you see this as the final war that Israel is going to engage in with Iran? Because, of course, there was the 12-day war last June, and here we are in another situation where there's another attempt to, quote-unquote, finish off the job, as many of your peers have said. Do you see this as the last war?
Well, we would very much hope that the outcome of this war is that Iran's regime decides that they're not going to continue enriching uranium, that they're not going to continue producing more and more ballistic missiles. But one way or another, we will always need to defend ourselves against looming threats.
And you've spoken in the past about what a weaker regime would mean in terms of empowering everyday Iranian people. There are no signs yet that Iranian people are once again taking to the streets. Do you think that that can actually happen in the absence of ground troops being committed to Iran?
Look, we cannot tell the Iranian people what to do. We can create the environment that would allow them to uprise. We are weakening the seams of this regime. We're weakening the apparatus. It's growing weaker and weaker, and there won't be a more opportune moment than now. But ultimately, it's their decision, not ours.
You've spoken about striking the head of the octopus, and indeed, we saw that in the early days of the operation, some key personnel at the top, right at the top, taken out. But as we know, there are several layers to the regime's power structure. What would it take to dismantle them?
Well, the head of the octopus is the entire Iranian regime, and if it falls, then all its tentacles will just dry out. It means that Hezbollah won't get the $1 billion a year and will dry out. Hamas, Islamic Jihad, the Houthis, the Iraqi arm of Iran. So if you cut the head of the octopus off, you solve 70-80% of the problems in the Middle East. That's why this campaign is just so important. I've been pushing for this for about a decade now, that we shouldn't be fighting the tentacles. We should go to the head of the octopus, and now we're doing it. And it's the most important and effective, potentially effective campaign that could be.
You're saying that you've been, advocating this for many years now, but are you going to be the politician who reaps the rewards from this, or is it going to be the current Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, obviously heading into crucial elections later this year?
This is not at all about politics, and you're right that Netanyahu is my opponent. I'm his opponent, and I think that I should become the next Prime Minister of Israel. However, on this issue, there is no daylight between Netanyahu and myself, no daylight within Israel, and no daylight between Israel and the United States. We stand together to dismantle the world's biggest nuclear threat, which is Iran.
Let me ask you about one of those tentacles that you just mentioned, Hezbollah. And because there's a new front that's opened up in Lebanon, what would be an acceptable outcome for Israel? Would it be enough for Hezbollah to disarm, which is what the Lebanese government are now publicly advocating for, to put down their arms but remain a political party? Or would that not still be an acceptable outcome for Israel?
As you said, disarmed Hezbollah, from our perspective, if there's no military component there, and they cannot threaten our people in the north, that's what we want. We don't care about the internal Lebanese politics. We do insist that we don't have a monster as a neighbor.
Okay, I'm gonna round up with one question, which I think is very crucial as well. Given the missile interception over Turkey, you in the past have referred to Turkey and said, we should not turn a blind eye to them, suggesting they may be more aligning more closely to a regional axis, including Iran. But obviously, the tables have turned in the last 24 hours, with Turkey also having to intercept some of the missiles that have been directed towards them. Let me just ask you whether there's a risk of further confrontation with Turkey based on comments that you said in the past.
Well, we need to ensure that Erdogan doesn't create a new alliance of radical Islam Sunni version, meaning an axis between himself, Joumanna, Qatar, and Hamas. We've been facing for many decades the Shiite radical Islam, and I hope that Turkey doesn't choose to foment terror and Islamism in its power. It's up to Turkey ultimately. If they seek peace, we definitely want peace, but if they try and surround us with terror, we will not sit idle.